Welcome to episode 2 of Tracking the Cats. It's a great podcast that is going to be interviewing people from across the Catamount spectrum and Catamount Nation. My co-host Steve White, who is usually here, was not able to be here today, but I do have two guests with us that I think y'all will find very interesting. Kevin Stanberry and Eddie Wells. And these guys are starting what's called the Cullowhee Collective. And y'all know a little bit about NIL, but I hopefully will learn a little bit more over the next 20, 30 minutes. So, guys, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you came about getting the Cullowhee Collective started.
You want to go, man?
Go right ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, so I'm Eddie Wells. Obviously, it's Kevin Stanberry. We're passionate Catamounts alumni. We actually started the collective really several months ago. Alex Gary, the AD, had reached out to us and asked if we had some interest in putting a collective together. If you're not familiar with what a collective is, basically it's a group that comes together to try to raise funds in support of for athletes getting money, current ones and maybe future ones to help with recruiting. So Kevin and I kind of had a bunch of meetings and worked with WCU to try to get this set up. It's interesting that we are working directly with athletics, but the collectives can't be under athletics. So Kevin and I started, and then we brought three other members on. So now there's five of us. We filed an LLC. The other three members would be Mike Wade. I think a lot of people know owns Rabbit Ridge, and former Catamount football player back in I think the 70s and 80s,
late 70s.
Late 70s.
Yep.
Brought him on. Nathan Earwood, a local attorney here. We brought him on as well.
Great supporter.
Big Catamount supporter. And then
Mike Crawford.
Mike Crawford, longtime supporter, given a lot to Western over the years, and we felt we put a pretty big group together. We are a good group together, and then we from there filed our LLC. We've actually had our LLC a couple months now, so we have been able to go ahead and get some kind of pledges, I guess you would say, into the collective, which that time and we'll probably get into some of this, but that time and really kind of helped because at the time we were starting this and trying to get pledges in, we're also in the process of we had a new basketball coach coming in, so the timing worked pretty well for some of that. Just to maybe help some with the recruiting process, and but it's been great. It's been a lot of work. We're both still working full time, so we've been able to do a lot of it. Later in the evenings, and but it's been fun. So I don't know what else you want to add to that.
No, I think that pretty much is how it all started, for sure.
Right.
I think
So,
Bob, sorry. One
go
thing
ahead,
I will
Eddie.
say too is we, from money coming in, we always want to make this point with everyone. It is an LLC. I mean, I guess you could theoretically we could try to make some money on this if we wanted to, but we don't. We're all passionate Catamounts. The money that's coming in, 100% of that is going to help sign athletes, minus some required expenses from some gear we may have to pay for, insurance, website maintenance, those type of things. So.
Right. So I don't know if y'all saw, but on the Catamount Sports Forum the other day, I put a poll out there, and I asked, what do you want to know about the Cullowhee Collective, and what do you know, and are you for it, against it? And everybody came back and said, not I like it, I don't like it. Everybody said, I want to know more. So tell us a little bit about who the beneficiaries will be. Is it mostly football or other sports? Help us out there.
Okay, so first of all, we at the very start we decided it would be all sports are available to take part in this. It's not going to be just football, just basketball, just men's sports, just women's sports. All sports will be available to participate in this. So if a booster love soccer and they come to us and say we want to help soccer, well, their money will be used to help soccer. So that's very
Great.
important to us that everybody is very clear and understands that. If they come to us wanting to help a certain sport, that is who we will help. Period. Right now, I think that a lot of people are talking and maybe feels like maybe it's kind of been geared towards one sport, men's basketball, but it kind of had to be right out of the gates because that's what was happening with the portal and that was the season that was starting with having to sign a team, but that is not what is going to be going forward.
Yeah, and I'll say like we are supporting all sports right now. I'll say just for signed contracts, we do have football players, we have basketball players, we have one from women's basketball, someone from women's soccer.
Yeah.
We have
Softball
who am I forgetting? Volleyball.
A soccer? Did you say soccer?
Yeah, I said soccer.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so we're trying to reach out to all sports. When we're hoping to be able to launch sometime this first week of July. We're not quite there yet. We had to make sure we got all of our contracts signed because when you think about a website, we're actually using, an athlete's image on our website, which is their NIL. So we had to make sure we had contracts signed before doing any of that. So that's, and we have levels on here too, and that's something I guess we'll try to get into when you talk about, who is receiving money, what are the benefits of supporting this. Well, there will be levels, almost, I don't want to say like you would see with like the Catamount Club, but we'll start, $10 a month and it'll go up, much higher than that. And for each level, you'll get some different benefits from gear or hats, decals, those type of things. But, the good thing is the money is going to a pot, strictly to help, sign these student athletes to give them some opportunities for their NIL.
Sure. So, Kevin, could you sponsor an athlete and then use him on the advertising for Stanberry? Is that help us understand a little bit about that?
So there are a couple ways to do this. So a business that is another option that we're definitely going to be going out and pursuing is direct sponsorships with businesses. So if a Stanberry Insurance did want to use one of the athletes that we have in the collective that we have signed and have a contract with, and so Stanberry Insurance said, we would like to do an ad with one of your athletes. We could then go to that athlete and say, would you like to do some advertising with Stanberry Insurance? And then we could then negotiate something there as well. So absolutely, we could do that too.
Yeah, so the
Very
benefit
cool.
would be they would be a sponsor of the Cullowhee Collective, but then still get to use the athletes. We'd sign a separate contract with the student athlete, so they get, a large portion of those funds, which is good for them and helps, the whatever the sponsor is on some advertising.
Okay, so individual businesses can do this, but how is an individual like myself, let's say I wanted to get involved? You said there are levels, and what would be the benefit to me for sponsoring, say, $1,000 or $5,000?
Yeah, so this will all make more sense when the website comes out. So
Okay.
we start at, I think the lowest one I think is $10 a month. The highest one I think is $1,000 a month, and there's levels in between there, and each level gets something different. So if you're at $10 a month, which is great for some people, we want to have something available for them. They may only get like a decal and maybe a T-shirt or something. The next would move on up all the way up to some levels. We'll get signed memorabilia. We're going to have raffles at different levels.
Yeah.
High levels, we even got in there maybe a dinner with the head coach.
Yeah, dinner with a coach. And then also at the end of the day, the main thing is you're helping out Western, helping us get better, and then eventually hoping to help us win championships. So
Right.
at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to do by doing
Makes
this.
makes sense. So, how is a student athlete selected, or how do you work this with the athletes? Do they come and say, "Hey, I'd love to sign with Western, but," or is there a star like one of the basketball players? Help me understand how the persons get picked or selected or signed on, whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question. We're working directly with the coaches, so the coaches not necessarily talking about amounts. They may mention to us what they think a ballpark is for a player of that caliber, and then
Mhm.
we're going and having those conversations. Like we even helped with some recruiting to where we would sit down with them and talk to them while they're on campus, kind of away from the coaches, and have a conversation of what we think we would be able to do, but the coaches are involved in this. They're just not making those decisions because they're, I guess they're not allowed
They're
to.
not. Yeah, they're. Yeah. So we've had a lot of conversations with compliance. Eddie and I have, just to make sure that we're doing everything by the book, by NCAA guidelines and rules. We've had several meetings just to make sure. The coaches have obviously had tons of meetings when it comes to this stuff. Um, just to make, and there's been a lot of changes in the last probably 3 months that have brought the coaches into it more than it was before. But still, when it comes to the negotiation of actual contract signing and actual dollar amounts, that falls 100% onto us and the athlete. We handle all of that, and all payments and all everything. The coaches are not involved in that, and the school is not involved in any of that. That has to come to us. Um, that's just the way it is. That's just when it comes to the NCAA and everything like that. The coaches can let a player know, hey, there is a collective, and they would like to talk to you and discuss it and want to talk to you about it. And there is one out there that's interested in talking to you and whatnot during the recruiting process. But when it comes to negotiation and money, that falls onto us.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yes.
So, are there any students that and you don't have to name them, but it sounds like there's been some talk with specific students, teams. Like,
Well, we have players under contract already. I think we have
Oh,
15,
16,
yeah,
7, something like that.
yeah, maybe 15, 16, 17, maybe.
I'd have to count.
We have 13 basketball players for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still in the process of trying to get some of them.
Yeah.
We won't talk about names yet.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. So when
Right,
the
sure.
website goes live, these young men and women will be listed on our website. Because once they're signed contracts, we're able to use their name, image, and likeness to show them and everything. So they will be listed on our. You'll be able to go onto the website and see them. We're excited about that. So absolutely, yeah, we have players signed already.
And
So basketball specifically, any other teams that you can talk about, or
We have 2 football players. We have one softball player. We have one volleyball player, one baseball player, one soccer player, one soccer player.
Did you say softball?
I did say softball.
Did you say softball?
I did.
I think you asked me that last time.
I know, yeah. So I think that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and
impressive.
Yeah, and Bob,
Yeah.
I'll say in this contract, so we're trying to keep it minimal things that the athletes will have to do. We're not trying to take a lot of their time. One thing we'll ask them to help promote the Cullowhee Collective on their social platforms. We will have a Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that where we're pumping information out as well. Beyond that, we may need them to sign some memorabilia that we can get out to some of the people that are giving money, to the collective. But it's very minimal things that we have in the contract. But there is non-disclosure information in there too. So whatever they're signing for, they're not supposed to talk with any of the other athletes about. They do sign
Sure.
off on that in the contract, and that's just to kind of help keep everything confidential.
And I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So do we.
Sometimes, as kids.
But it's exciting. I mean, they're very. We've had some great meetings with these young men and women, and they're great. great people.
We've got great coaches, and they're picking quality athletes.
They really
So
are.
I'm real pleased on that. Um, let's talk a little bit about some of the more competitive things. How do we look against the other Southern Conference schools? Have you kind of looked to them or talked to any of their collectives for ideas? Are we behind? Are we ahead? And about the same?
We, I will say this: if we weren't doing it, we would be way behind. So we
Right.
have to be doing it for sure. Um,
Especially in basketball.
men's basketball in the Southern Conference is very aggressive in the NIL world. Um, several schools are very aggressive. I would say right now I would put us in the middle.
Yeah.
I would put us in the middle where our budget is. I feel like we did a nice job. I think some boosters really stepped up and made some nice commitments and made it to where we could go out and be very competitive in the NIL world in the Southern Conference this year.
Yeah, and
Right.
really,
So
if you
go
think
ahead.
about some of the teams at the top of the SoCon, they've been doing this for a little bit. So
Yeah.
we feel like we had to get something started to help be competitive, as Kevin said. And we're just starting out now. We're hoping by this time next year we have a large pot of money to be even higher up, within the
Yeah.
SoCon on these offers for athletes and everything.
Eddie and I did not do anything last year, and I think NIL wise, we dipped our toe very slightly in the water with men's basketball. Some people did help out a little bit. Maybe some people weren't aware that this was happening, but there was some things that did happen for a few of our players last year that helped us keep a few of those kids around, which was great. And as you can tell, it helped. We had a great year last year. But there were schools in our conference that were absolutely killing it in the NIL world. Furman and Sanford, if you just want to name names, had big numbers.
I would have picked those schools,
Yeah,
just because of their reputations
Yeah.
and
Well,
their,
just go ahead and look what they did on the court. I mean, it had big budgets.
Yep.
We're nowhere near that, and I'm not saying we'll ever get to where they are, but we need to be competitive there. I think we can beat them in other ways because that's what we've always done. Western, we've always found other ways to do stuff. So we need to get our budget up higher, which I think we can, and we'll just continue to do it in other ways. We'll just we'll outwork them, and I feel like we've done a great job with our hire as our new head coach. Coach Kraft is going to do a heck of a job. I have no doubts there. I keep talking to people that are in the know of the coaching world, and the things I keep hearing are very impressive. So get him what he needs financially and let him do what he does, and we're going to be fine.
Great. Well, most of Western's fans, biggest fan base, of course, is football. Tell me a little bit about what you're going to be doing with that, and where is that overall as against the other conference teams? And
I don't know where we fall in terms of the other conference teams. I mean, we've reached out to Kerwin Bell and Todd Shealy, the director of football operations, have been working with them, and if there's things that we can do to help, we're just putting that in front of them, saying, look, we are raising money to help with athletes. So right now it's been less on the recruiting side and really more those that have already been established here, like the ones that we have signed. Which is good. I mean, they want to reward some of these that are doing really great things for Western right now. So
right.
We fully expect to be involved in a lot of this recruiting. Whenever the portal's open, that's when things get kind of busy and needing money to sign players, because that's all you can recruit now. You couldn't do that a year ago, and it's probably happening anyways. But coaches were not allowed. Or NIL money wasn't allowed in the recruiting process, and then they changed all that. So, I think we'll be heavily involved when the portal opens back up.
Yeah, I think they'll be. Yeah, so football portal is a little different than the basketball time wise. So I think we'll know more about that the next time around.
Yeah, like baseball portal's open right now, so we've been working with the head baseball coach some too, with Alan Beck, and if there's something we can do to help when they're trying to sign some of these players, then we want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
we're there. We're here to help. So, and that conversation kind of goes out to alumni that want to find ways to help maybe differently. And this is something we also want to say: if alumni are looking for ways to help differently than the ways they're helping already, we're not asking for them to stop helping the ways they're already helping. If you're giving to the Catamount Club, continue to give to the Catamount Club. If you give money to wherever you're giving money to Western, whatever the ways those are, don't stop giving those ways. Those ways don't stop needing that help.
That makes sense, and I would hope most people would understand that.
We want to make sure people understand that. We're not asking for you
Yeah.
to stop that money to give to us.
We don't want that.
We don't want that. We are both members, board members of the Catamount Club. So the
Right.
Catamount Club means a lot to us. And so that's very important for people to understand that. If you're giving money to the Catamount Club, give more, please. But if you're looking for other ways to help and you have the ability to do so, this is a great way to help. It can help us get better quickly, we feel like. So anyway, just want to make sure.
What kind of
point that out.
What kind of financial goals do you have? If that's something you want to talk about, or just
that's a really good question, Bob.
As much as possible.
Yeah, but you probably should have a goal. I mean, I think that's something we probably need to sit down and kind of have a goal for each. I'd love to have a goal for each sport. Kind of have one set to the side and say, I'd like to have this budget for basketball, and I'd like to have this budget for each sport, and kind of work towards that, and work with some of their alumni and some of their boosters that really like to help these sports specifically, and go, hey, let's try to get to this if we can. How much could that help your teams? That would probably be a great starting point. Because then at the end of the day, those coaches would really have a really nice idea of how to back their way into how to go out and recruit for the next year. What kind of players they could maybe try to go out and recruit. If they just hypothetically, could I sign a $50,000 player if I had a budget of this much? One star player, and then use another $75,000 to sign some $10,000-$15,000 guys or whatever.
Yeah, Bob, I expect us to have conversations with coaches moving forward once we start getting money coming in a little more than just pledges we have at this point, and kind of asking them, where do we need to be for you to be competitive in the SoCon, with each individual sport, and that's something that would be a goal for us.
Have you targeted specific businesses? I know you mentioned Nathan Earwood's committed.
Yeah, we have a few that we're very. We've had a few that we've had conversations with that we haven't signed, so we can't really speak on those yet. Yeah. But we have some absolutely that we're in conversations with. That if we were to hit on would be big, would be really helpful. Could get us off to a really nice start.
We have some good things in the works. We're just crossing our fingers.
Yeah, we have a couple of really nice things in the works that would be really exciting news.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
I think we get people really excited, and I think the website once it goes live and people see that and be able to see the athletes that we have signed, I think that's going to get people excited. I hope. I think that people that are involved with Western know who Eddie is, know who I am. We feel like that. I hope that people know if Eddie and I are involved in something, we're serious about it. I mean, we don't kind of mess around. I mean, we're if we're going to do it, we're going to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will say all 5 of our members that are of the LLC that
Are
that
bought
we
in.
filed
Yeah.
are all bought in to help in Western. Huge catamounts, like we're just here to help and care about it. So we're trying to put that work in now to get it just right to launch, and it's been a lot of work up to this point, but it's something good, just to try to help our university that we all love.
So one of the only tough question I have for you guys is there are some folks who are not excited about having to do this. How do you answer their comments or their concerns?
I mean, it's fair. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. At first, a few years ago, when it really first started, it was a little. I mean, I think it was a little tough pill to swallow.
Yeah,
but you just gotta have to.
If you like it or not, it's part of the landscape of college sports right now. So
there's no going back.
I can't let the university that I love so much just be left behind. I just can't do it, right? I can't do it. And if this is the thing that I'm just going to decide that I'm going to get left behind on, I can't. This is not the one I'm going to down. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So to a more positive point, I think there are a fair amount of folks who are interested in this. So tell us how to get involved. What's the website? When can we expect that to come online?
Yeah, so we're hoping this week. So the website will be cullowheecollective.com. We also have an email address that we're checking. It's cullowheecollective@gmail.com. Really just, I think I would hold off until the website launches because it's gonna answer, we hope, a lot of questions. That might be a work in progress after we get that put out there. There will be ways to donate online if they want to. You can give to specific sports.
Call me.
Yeah, call us.
Call us.
Yeah. Our numbers are out there.
Yeah.
Probably won't be on the website, but a lot of people have our number.
Let's be honest.
You can Google it and find it.
It's not hard to get hold of Kevin Stanberry Eddie Wells. We're not hiding from anybody. So
no, and Kevin Stanberry is a sponsor of this podcast.
That's
so
true.
Stanberry Insurance, Stanberry-ins.com.
Yeah, my number actually is on that website. So
yeah. So, and I thank you for your support, by the way, Kevin.
You're very welcome, buddy. Nice work. I'm excited. There's a Western podcast out there. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, want to get it more often. Right now it's monthly. I hope by football season we're doing it at least twice a month.
Very good.
And maybe at some point down there weekly, because you know me, I've loved the Catamounts since I enrolled in September of 1971. So
well, I've loved them since December of '71 when I was born. But anyway,
well, I was an import. I came up from Florida.
Yeah.
It was a culture shock, but I loved it. I fell in love with Cullowhee, the mountains, the people. It's been a great ride for me.
Yeah, we're right there with you. We love the cat. We both live local here, so it's been easier for us. Really, all 5 members are here locally. Within Western North Carolina.
That's right. That's right.
It's been easier to get things going that way, having people right here. So.
Well, guys, I appreciate your time this afternoon, and we will get this downloaded as soon as possible, and hopefully we'll get some views this week, which is the week of July 1st through 5th.
Very good. Happy Independence Day, everybody.
Yeah.
Same for me.
That's right.
And Cats.
Go Cats.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, see y'all.